Hello students, today we are going to discuss about last topic of this chapter and that is class Aves and Mammalia. So in previous lecture we have already discussed about vertebrata can be divided into two major groups, Agnatha, okay, that is the jawless animals, then Gnathostomata, that is bearing jaws. Okay, which we have already discussed about this, and Agnatha we have discussed in that Cyclostomata class. Cyclostomata in detail we have discussed this class. Then Gnathostomata further divide into two superclasses, species which are bearing the fins, and superclass Tetrapoda which bear the limbs. Okay, and already we have discussed about fin having organism superclass species. Okay, in which we have already discussed about Chondrichthyes, Ostrachithyes. Okay, and all general characteristic along with the example we have already discussed about these three. Okay, and even we have discussed about superclass Tetrapoda, okay, which bearing the limbs, okay, in which we have already discussed about amphibia and reptila along with the general characteristic and examples. Okay, and in today's lecture, we are going to discuss about these two classes, okay, which include aves and mammalia. Okay, so we will discuss today about the aves and mammalia related general characteristic along with the example. So let me start with the aves. So class aves are included in the superclass Tetrapoda. Okay, and they are subphylum Vertebrata. They are included in the subphylum Vertebrata, and you know very well the subphylum Vertebrata have superclass Tetrapoda, and the superclass Tetrapoda have this class Aves. And these Aves class we are commonly calling them as a birds. Okay, so Aves class include all variety of birds. Okay, so let me discuss some general characteristic of this group of animal. So first of all, here a presence of a feather. This is very unique feature. Okay, on appearance or observing these two features, these two structures, we can definitely say that this is the bird. Okay, so here presence of a feather, you can see here these all are a feather on that is colorful feathers. Okay, that is the identity of the birds. Okay, and presence of feather and beak is a unique feature of this organism. Forelimb, here you must be remember here they are included into Tetrapoda. Okay, forelimb and hind limb, two pair of limb may be there in this organism. But here what happened? Forelimb. These anterior limbs are converted or modified into wings. So wings are nothing but they are one type of limbs of these organisms. Okay, and it is modified into wings. And wings are enable this organism to fly in the sky. Okay, so here you should remember these wings are nothing but it is a modification of a forelimb. Okay, which will help them to fly in the sky. Dry skin here without any glands except oil gland at the base of a tail. So at the base of a tail there is a oil gland. The rest of the part of a body do not have any kind of a gland and whole skin will be dry. Okay, and hind limb have scales here in the hind limb. Here this you can see. Okay, this is the one pair of limbs they are present. Hind limb this forelimb is converted into wings, but hind limbs here will have scales on these limbs. Okay, and are modified for walking. Sometimes means you may be observed walking. Okay, swimming. These all are the functioning of the organism. Birds. Okay, so sometimes these hind limb will play a very important role during walking, swimming, clasping, tree branching. Okay, on the tree branching they can clasp. Okay, like that. So hind limb play very important role. Only one pair of limb will be present here in real sense. Okay, whereas the second pair of limb is converted into wings. Long, hollow, pneumatic bones. Okay, so what is the meaning of pneumatic? This means pore containing bones. Okay, these bones are not many solid bones. Okay, here you can see porous bones are present and that will enable the organism to fly. Okay, so as it is porous, it become light in weight. Okay, so this is the photograph of a pneumatic bone. Here you can see as it is porous. Okay, hole are there in the bones. Okay, and that's why it is not solid, and that's why the lighter weight will be there in the organism, and as a result of that of a lightweight of the organism they can fly very easily. So here bones are unique. They are long, hollow and pneumatic. Here you can see pneumatic bones. Okay, and here also you can see tympanum is present as a ear. Here also external ear is absent as per the human. Okay, or mammals. So this external ear will be only present in the mammals, but here you can see there is a ear, but that just is a in the form of a tympanum. There is a totally absence of a external ear. Okay, so these all are the general characteristic and very unique characteristic. Here you can see these wings which will enable the organism to fly. Pneumatic bones are also helping the organism to fly. Okay, tympanum will act as a ear. Okay, here you can see beaks. Okay, all organism of this group having a beak, and that is a modified jaws. Okay, and these jaws are teethless. You must be remember here. Okay, this beak is nothing but it is modified jaws and do not have teeth inside. Okay, so here each organism you can see this one, this one, this one, any of these. Okay, you can observe any of these organism will have beak, and that is a characteristic feature. And along with beak there is a feathers. There are colorful feathers. Okay, on the basis of colors of the feather we can identify the birds. Okay, so this is very unique feature that feather containing organism this one is, and that will play very important role for the protecting the organism from the external environment. Okay, so this is protecting as well as their identity both. Okay, and here you can see the hind limb only present. This forelimb will convert into wings. Next characteristic let we discuss about. So here you can see four chamber heart will be there. Okay, so here you can see four chamber heart, two auricles and two ventricles. Okay, and these organism you have to remember this homeotherms these are. Okay, that means warm-blooded animal. So what is the meaning of warm-blooded animal? Until whatever we have studied, okay, in which only we have studied about the cold-blooded animals, right? And that is called poikilothermous animals. Okay, but here this group is homeotherms, that means warm-blooded animal. That means that these animals can maintain their body temperature according to the external environment. Okay, so these organisms have ability to maintain their internal body temperature according to the external environment, and that's why they are calling as a warm-blooded animals. Okay, so you have to remember this one, homeotherm. This is the terminology which is used for the warm-blooded animal, or the animal which can maintain their body temperature. Okay, and here digestive tract has an additional chamber. You must be remember. Okay, here digestive this you can see. Okay, this is the digestive tract of these animals. Okay, and having an additional chamber. Okay, this one here you can see this one. Rest other organism will have start the with the stomach, gizzard and all that, intestine and all that. But here one different, one unique chamber is there, and this chamber is called crop. Here you can see this is the crop. Okay, and this is the storing extra storing compartment. Okay, in which they will store the food. Okay, so crop will play a very important role. And next is the gizzard. This gizzard is also playing very important role for the mastication of this food which is enter inside the these cavities. Okay, so digestive tract, whatever food is inserted in the cavity of this digestive tract, then gizzard will play a very important role, and it will do the mastication of the food. Okay, and it will turn larger molecule into smaller molecules. Okay, so crop and gizzard, two chambers are very importantly present in this group of animals, because you know very well in the mouth there is absence of teeth. Okay, teeth is not present. That's why mastication or the churning of the food will occur with the help of gizzard. Okay, which is present in here. You can see in the digestive tract. Here double respiration will be observed. Okay, air sacs connected to the lungs. Here you can see some very unique feature. This one, air sacs is connected with the you can see here with the lungs. Okay, and air sacs play very important role, and it will enable the organism to fly, because these air sacs will fill with the air, and as a result of that body weight of this organism become very light, and as a result of that they can fly in the sky easily. Okay, so you must be remember which are the structures which will enable this organism to fly in the sky. So one is you can see wings. Okay, we have already discussed about wings. Then you know very well one is pneumatic bones. Okay, which will also make the body weight of the organism lighter, and these air sacs. These all are the structure which enable the organism to fly in the sky easily. Next feature you can see internal fertilization. You will observe here oviparous, that means egg laying organisms here. Development is a direct, so you should remember development is a direct. And here you can see one definition is given for the homeotherms, and which we have already discussed. So here let me repeat: animals having ability to maintain a constant body temperature. Okay, they can maintain their constant body temperature. You know very well in human we are maintaining up to 37 degrees Celsius temperature, and because of that only we are homeotherms. Next, here in this slide you can see some example of aves, and you know very well what are the examples of the aves. Okay, but here you should remember one extra point, and that is a scientific name. Okay, we are calling this as a crow. Okay, but that is not enough. You must be remember the scientific name. So here you must be remember as a crow as a corvus also. Okay, so this is the task for you, and you must be remember these all example along with the scientific name and the brackets. Okay, so this is the example of class aves. Here you can see corvus, that is called crow. Okay, pigeon, a scientific name is a columba. Okay, then here you can see parrot, name is a Citiculata. Okay, and then ostrich, Sturthio. Okay, then peacock is called pavo. Okay, then here penguin, so here you can see Aptenodytes. Okay, then here vulture is a neophran. So you must be remember all the scientific name along with the brackets. Okay, which animals are included in this. Now next here you can see next phylum is a vertebrata. Along with the vertebrata, let we discuss about superclass Tetrapoda, and in Tetrapoda let we discuss about class Mammalia. And this is the last class. Okay, and this is the highest class in the organism of animals. Okay, so you must be remember this is the highest class Mammalia. So let we discuss about this class. So here presence of a mammary gland, it is a unique feature, and just because of presence of mammary gland, this whole class is considered as a mammalia. Okay, why this is called mammalia? Because here you can see or observe mammary gland. Here you can see this is the mammary gland in the cow. Okay, so here mammary gland will present, and this is a unique feature or identical feature for the class mammalia, and that's why whole class is considered as a mammalia. Okay, or in short we can say that as a milk producing glands are present. Okay, so here in this group of animal, milk producing glands will be present, and that's why they are considered as a mammalia. Okay, and here skin will with hair, means skin, whole skin will cover with the hairs. Okay, here two pair of limb for walking, running, climbing, burrowing. Okay, so these all are the activity done with the help of the limbs. Okay, so here two pair of limb will be there for walking, running, climbing, and the burrowing. Then swimming or flying, these all are considered as a activity which will done with the help of limbs. Okay, then external ear. So external ear here is the unique feature, because in previous any other class whatever we have learned, there is a total absence of external ear. Okay, so this is the only class on the earth which contain external ear, and that is called pinna. So these all class having, means this is the class, this all organism present in this class will have external ear. Here you can see this is the external ear, which is absence in previous all classes which we have already discussed about that. Okay, so this external ear is considered as a pinna. So pinna is a unique feature is of this class. Okay, so you can observe each and every organism will have whichever is included in this class will have external ear in form of a pinna. You can see here the photograph. Okay, so this is the unique feature, and here four chambered heart will be there. Okay, this one is the four chambered heart, two auricles and two ventricles. Okay, then homeotherms, you know very well now what is the homeotherms animals. So homeotherms are the organism which can maintain their body temperature according to the external environment, and which can maintain up to the constant temperature. Okay, and for example we can take it as a 37 degrees Celsius temperature what we are maintaining in the human. Okay, so you must be remember, so homeotherms which are the included in this class of animals. Okay, so all animals which are included in this class mammalia have homeothermic activity. Okay, next here you can see well developed alimentary canal will be observed. Okay, and dentition, this is also very unique feature. Okay, so dentition means teeth arrangement, you can see having heterodont, thecodont and diphodont. Okay, so these are the very important features of the teeth which we will learn in detail in chapter number 16. Okay, but here you must remember what is a dentition here in the difference of the dentition. Okay, so here dentition is very unique. Work distribution will be there. Shape and teeth, shape of the teeth is according to the function of the teeth. Okay, so here heterodont, thecodont and diphodont, the teeth will be observed. Respiration occur with the help of lungs. Sexes are separate, male and female both are different. Then here you can observe internal fertilization. Okay, these all animals giving birth to the child. Okay, and that's why it is considered as a viviparous. But here one exceptional case is there. Okay, that is echidna or a platypus. These two organisms give eggs. Okay, so you must be remember all organism included in this class having viviparous activity, but two organisms. Here you can see Echidna and Platypus. Okay, this Echidna, this one, okay, and this one is a Platypus. This both animal do not give direct birth to the child, but they will produce eggs. Okay, so except these two, all are viviparous. These two is only oviparous. Rest other are viviparous. And here development is a direct. So you must be remember development is a direct. Okay, and here let me discuss about some example of this class. Okay, here you must be remember the scientific name along with the brackets. Okay, so Platypus, here you can see Platypus, Ornithorhynchus it is called. Okay, and here kangaroo, Macropus. Okay, so you must be remember the scientific name. Okay, kangaroo, that is called Macropus. Then flying fox. Okay, this is the only animal included in this class which can fly. Okay, so this is also unique organism in this class. This is the animal, even it is animal or a tetrapoda, they can fly in the sky. So this is a flying fox. Okay, and pteropus, that is called, scientific name is a pteropus. And here monkey you can see, and scientific name is a macaca. So you must be remember this all scientific name along with the general name. Let us discuss more example. Here camel is there, Camelus, then rat, Ratius, and this dog is considered as a Canis, that is scientific name. Then cat is considered as a Felis. Okay, elephant, Elephas. So you must be remember all organism along with the scientific name. Other example, so these animals, this group of animals, some of them are aquatic also. Okay, look like a fish, but these are not considered as a fish. Okay, so this is not fish actually. This is included in the mammalia. So you must be very clear. In general, we are calling these organisms as a fish, but this is actually not fish. Okay, these are included in the mammalia group. So common dolphin, this one, Delphinus that is called. Okay, and this is a Balanoptera, that is called blue whale. Okay, this is a horse, Equus. Okay, this one is a Equus. The scientific name of a horse is Equus. Then here, tiger, Panthera tigris, which you all already learn about this. Okay, you know very well the scientific name for the tiger because we have already learned in chapter number 1. Panthera tigris is the scientific name for the tiger. Okay, and here you can see lion. Further, you have already learned about the Panthera leo in chapter number 1. So you have already remembered these two scientific names. Okay, tiger, Panthera tigris, and Panthera leo, that is a lion. Now this is your homework for today's lecture, and before we finish this lecture, let me summarize whole topic by using one animation video. So look at this video.
The next class is aves, which consists of birds. Members of this class are characterized by feathers. Their forelimbs are modified into wings, while their hind limbs generally have scales and are modified for walking, swimming or clasping. Although most birds can fly, some like the ostrich, kiwi and penguin have structures that make them incapable of flying. These birds have a fully ossified or bony endoskeleton. However, their long bones are hollow due to air cavities. This makes their bodies light and adapted to flying. Moreover, except for oil glands at the base of the tail, they possess no other glands, due to which their skin is dry. Birds use beaks to eat. The food then reaches the digestive tract, which has a crop and a gizzard, which are additional chambers. Birds are warm-blooded or homeotherm, with a four-chambered heart. They respire through lungs, and air sacs connected to their lungs supplement respiration. In birds, the sexes are separate and fertilization is internal. They are oviparous and exhibit direct development. Malurus, Corvus, Columba, Psittacula, Struthio, and Pavo are some common examples. The last class under subphylum Vertebrata is Mammalia. Mammals are found in a variety of habitats: polar ice caps, deserts, mountains, forests, grasslands, and dark caves. These vertebrates have certain unique features such as mammary glands, which produce milk, and hair on their skin. They also have 2 pairs of limbs and 1 pair of external ears or pinnae, along with different types of teeth to tear, bite, cut, and crush. Mammals respire through lungs. They are warm-blooded and have a 4-chambered heart. In mammals, the sexes are separate and fertilization is internal. They are viviparous. However, some are oviparous and exhibit direct development. Panthera leo, Canis, Macaca, Camelus, Bos, and Delphinus are viviparous mammals, while Ornithorhynchus is an oviparous mammal. Each class under subphylum Vertebrata can be distinguished based on certain morphological and anatomical features.
In next lecture, we will have revision test for this chapter and you have to prepare exercise 1 from this chapter. Okay, so till then, goodbye.